Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have a look at the latest from the live radar, run through the UKV, have a look at the precipitation and the temperature over the next 5 days. And it is going to be turning quite a bit warmer through this upcoming bank holiday weekend and will remain warm into the first week of May. Now, the one caveat to that is it won't all be sunshine out there. There will be cloud, there will be areas of rain, and there could be some quite big thunderstorms in places over this weekend, with the warm, humid air wafting up from the south, replacing the cold Arctic air we've had for much of this week. Of course, bringing warmer conditions, there will be sunnier conditions in places, but as I said, the risk of heavy, thundery showers. So we'll run through the UKV, have a look at the temperatures, which will likely be in the high teens and low 20s over the next few days, all the way into next week. And as I said, we'll look at the thunderstorm risk with that as well. As we head into longer range, it is still looking reasonably encouraging as we do head into early May. If you want warmer, dry weather, we're definitely seeing more and more consensus for generally upper air temperatures to be average or above average for the foreseeable future, and plenty of dry weather throughout the next 10 days. Beyond that, there still is, of course, a lot of uncertainty, but in the reliable time frame, it is looking likely that May will start on a really quite reasonable note, with lots of days of temperatures, high teens, low 20s, and plenty of drier weather out there. Now, I have seen one caveat with that is it's very difficult to predict cloud amounts and small areas of rain, as there is the potential for little upper troughs to move in at times, which could give thunderstorms, can give a cloud, and can give rain, and that could spice things up a little bit and break dry and warm spells. But we'll have to see with that near the time, and of course we'll run through the latest runs and see what they are showing today. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. So do start on the live radar. You can see at the moment it is turning much drier. A few showers across parts of the Republic of Ireland and through Scotland, but mostly light and patchy, and lower pressure that's been giving unsettled weather to us is now shifted out into Europe. Now, it's incredibly hot across parts of southern Spain at the moment. It's having a bit of a breakdown here, a few heavy showers breaking out, and that's where our air direction is coming from, sort of from the south and southwest. So we're wafting up really quite warm air, and it will give temperatures well above average through the weekend into next week. But as I said, we're starting to see the dry weather now, and if you're out there through the rest of the afternoon, it will feel fairly pleasant. Temperatures haven't fully risen yet to what they will be this weekend, but they are getting towards the mid to high teens in a few spots. Now, I said I'm recording this around 2 p.m. You can start to see oranges starting to develop in the south, something we haven't seen for a number of days, if not getting into the weeks of these warm high teens conditions. Of course, we have seen 20 degrees, but not seen 20 degrees down in the south, the southeast. London hasn't seen 20 degrees yet, which is highly unusual for this late in the season, or this late in the spring, but it's looking very likely we break that this weekend and start of next week. But you can start to see some oranges appearing through central southern England, where we've got most sunshine and the warmest air mass, and across parts of the Republic of Ireland, just showing you the air that is moving in. And you can see it's incredibly hot still across southern Spain, not quite as hot as the last few days at the moment, but still got some pinks there, so high, mid to high 30s in places, and as areas wafting up from the southwest region, and it will be really quite warm over the coming days. We're starting to see the first hints of that. Now, if you go over to the UKV and have a look at the precipitation and the temperature over the next 5 days, you can see rain did spread through this morning, but through the rest of the afternoons, it's fairly pleasant. A few heavy showers across the Republic of Ireland, and we're seeing a few of those break out on the live radar, but not too extensive yet. So there could be still a few thundery showers through the rest of this afternoon and evening, but we will just have to see. Beyond that, as we head into Saturday, again, could be still some cold air across Scotland, so it could still be a bit of snow over the Highlands in the overnight hours, and still a few showers in spots, and some thundery showers starting to break out tomorrow. So a much warmer day tomorrow. Temperatures, as I said, mid to high teens widely, and then developing to the 20s in some spots, but big, heavy, chunky thunderstorms in places. They are pop-up storms, so they could be really quite big, they could be small. UKV here showing parts of northwest England, West Midlands, Wales, maybe the southwest of England, Republic of Ireland, and Northern Ireland as the areas for those thunderstorms tomorrow. As I said, though, it is very uncertain. It is associated with general instability and sort of April shower sort of format, where it's the sun strength really fueling these showers with the energy in the air. It's not associated with any major system developing, any major low pressure system, and the air isn't ridiculously hot that it will mean there will be widespread, huge multi-celled systems. So we're not expecting anything too crazy, but there is the potential for some intense conditions in places, but equally, because they are pop-up storms, you could be in these areas and you could see absolutely nothing. So it is one of those where it's impossible to forecast exactly, but if you're in those regions that I just said a minute ago, do make sure you keep an eye on the live radars. That's the best way you'll know if showers are on your way. And again, most likely through the early to late afternoon. Morning should be clearer, and of course in the evening you'll see these showers start to fade away. As you can see, around 10-11 p.m. the thunderstorms start to degrade away, turning more into showers as we still have some instability around land. Those showers to continue, but because the sun strength has gone, the intensity is reducing, and eventually they do peter out in many areas, before eventually seeing some more heavy showers developing through northern areas. And you can see actually through Sunday, even more of those thunder showers developing, especially through parts of the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland and western parts of England, Wales, and more extensive showers in Scotland and Northern England. So really, Sunday is going to be again a day of sunshine and heavy thundery showers, with the biggest showers once again in the west and the north. Further south and eastward you are, probably the better conditions. And again, they do degrade away overnight, and you can see by the early hours of Monday, pretty much all those showers have moved away. So it does look like activity for those heavy thunder showers has increased in this latest UKV. Again, it might not play out exactly like this. Again, we have to keep an eye on all scenarios, but it's just something that we just have to keep an eye on the live radar for what is going on with that. No Met Offers warnings issued, so again, it will really be an outcast situation. So if you are very interested in those thunderstorms and showers over the next 48 hours, and you've got plans in the north and the west through Saturday and Sunday, as I said, best way to do that is through the precipitation radar. The Met Office website, the Weather Channel, or various other apps do host that. See through Monday, still some showers around, spreading further eastwards, with a bit more instability there, but again, not quite as intense. And that's because high pressure is starting to build in. You can see through Tuesday, very similar. A few showers around, but generally brighter, dry conditions, and that will continue through Wednesday, as well as we see higher pressure building in. And you can see that here, we put on the mean sea level pressure. High pressure is thermally in control with the south to southeasterly flow, and you can see the upper air temperatures are reasonably warm. Cool air could try to move around the high pressure system through far northern and western areas, but warm air dominating through the weekend in many areas, a good few degrees above zero, and that's a few degrees above average, with the average around 0, 1 or 2 degrees this time of year, so slightly above average, turning potentially much higher than average into early next week. And again, upper air temperatures don't mean everything. Sunshine amounts really do pep up those temperatures, as we'll see now with the 2 metre max temperatures, when over the next sort of 5 days or so, there's quite a high chance that we see 20 degrees somewhere in the UK. Now, through today, you can see the best conditions are in southern areas, through central southern England, perhaps parts of South Wales and southern Republic of Ireland, peaking at 15 to 17 degrees, perhaps as high as 18 or 19 in a few isolated spots. Further northwards, cooler, as we're still holding on to that colder air and thicker cloud. Into tomorrow, there will be some colder conditions in the morning, perhaps mid-single digits in a few spots, and quite cold across Scotland. And you can see tomorrow afternoon, more extensive, 15 to 17 degrees, again locally peaking at 18 or 19, still quite cold across parts of Scotland, but most of England, Wales, Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland are back into average or above average temperatures, so a much better day through Saturday. But again, not all areas are seeing warm conditions. There are 13, 14s here, and again, those are associated with either higher ground or with those heavy showers developing. All be dependent on the sunshine amounts, clouds and thunderstorms. So you have the risk of only 13, 14 degrees and thunderstorms at times through tomorrow afternoon, but equally could be 19 or 20 degrees with sunshine. As we head into Sunday, again, temperatures could be quite cool overnight, and once again into the afternoon, look at eastern areas where we avoid those heavy thundery showers, widely 17 to 19 degrees. Really quite warm and really quite nice for the time of year. Further northwards and westwards, still could see an isolated 15 or 16 between the showers, but because of those thundery showers, it will hold back those temperatures. So once again, I must reiterate, it really is this weekend about avoiding those showers. You avoid those showers, it will be a nice bank holiday Saturday and Sunday. It will be widely high teens, a lot of sunshine around, feeling warm, but if you do see those showers, it will not be all too nice. Into Monday, as I said, turning more widely dry, and you can see those 16, 17 degrees extending further northwards, perhaps even Scotland starting to get into the mid-teens there, and once again 18, 19 or 20 degrees in the far south, and that continues into Tuesday. Cooler air trying to nudge in from the northeast, and again you can see that dividing line perhaps through East Anglia into northeast England, as saw in the upper air temperatures, cold air trying to filter in, but again most areas of England, Wales, Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland are still in the mid to high teens. So you see the next 4 or 5 days there are caveats pretty much every day, whether it's shower amounts or some cooler air masses moving in, but for quite a few areas it's going to be fairly pleasant and fairly warm over the next 5 days. And if you do avoid those showers, you'll be thinking this is really beautiful spring dry weather, but if you do see the showers, it will be a whole different picture. Again, one of these very difficult scenarios where very small differences in distance, 5 to 10 miles, can be the difference between 20 degrees and sunshine, and could be 15 degrees with heavy thunderstorms. So we will just have to see how it does play out this weekend. I don't want to call anything specifically, simply because there will be a whole range of situations. Of course, the thunderstorms could be more intense than the UKV is showing, or they could be more likely, probably less intense. We've seen that plenty of times with the UKV showed widespread heavy showers, and they don't quite materialise in the same way. So it is going to be one of those. We've just got to keep an eye on it. And I said the best way to do that, if you are in the risk zones, as I said, through western and northern areas, mostly it will be checking the live radar. So if you do now have a look at the longer range, hopefully as we head into early May, it will remain fairly warm and we will hopefully cut out those heavy thundery showers. Now you can see through this upcoming weekend, through this upcoming weekend, we do have high pressure building in, but little upper troughs moving in at times, and that will give the risk of those heavy thundery showers. However, into next week, a more extensive high pressure system built in with more of a south to southeasterly flow. Through the middle of next week, it could be fairly warm and it will be fairly dry, generally under the centre of the high pressure. However, perhaps into the longer term, as we head towards next weekend, low pressure could move in with some more upper troughs. Again, could reintroduce some instability, but again, this is heading towards a day 7 to day 10 range where things start to become uncertain, but we are still generally under higher pressure, and that continues all the way until sort of day 12 or so. Beyond that, it does have low pressure moving in, but we are in very uncertain time frame there. The reliable time frame up to sort of day 7, day 10 has firmly got warm, high pressure involved. And you can see this next week, wafting up potentially a really warm air mass by next Wednesday or Thursday. Again, uncertain whether it quite reaches the UK, the warmest or hottest air, but definitely well above average next week, those upper air temperatures. Perhaps cooler air trying to intrude from the northeast, but the latest GFS generally has it quite warm. And as we'll see at the end of the video, most of the ensemble members are average or above average. I'd definitely go more for the scenario. We just have warm air over the top of us. If you look at the GEM now, again, some instability over the coming days, but generally high pressure is starting to dominate more, and it definitely does that into early next week. Low pressure could introduce itself for next weekend, perhaps a bit of upper troughs, a bit of instability, giving slightly more unsettled, maybe stormy weather in places with those thunderstorms and heavy showers, but all the way to around the 8th of May, still generally under higher pressure, but similar to this weekend, where we're under higher pressure, but there still is the potential for some heavy thundery showers breaking out with instability. And you can look at the upper air temperatures, generally average or above average. There you can see more yellows dominating, indicating that it will be fairly warm out there. Temperatures high teens, low 20s once again, but there's, as I said, potentially that risk coming back. We're really looking at probably middle of next week or most of next working week for that real drier conditions as the high pressure does build in. Anything after that, perhaps more unsettled, but there is, of course, the caveat of some big uncertainty with that. If you do look at the ECMWF now, again, high pressure building in over the course of this weekend. Again, some low pressure systems trying to budge in, giving cooler air and instability, and then massive high pressure system built in next week. Quite tight isobars from the southeast there, so it could be a little bit gusty in places, but it's drawn up a very warm wind. So we actually really quite pleasant out there. But once again, cooler air is trying to intrude from the northeast, so some areas of eastern Scotland could actually stay reasonably cool. It could be sort of 7 or 8 degrees in eastern Scotland, but 21, 22 in the far south in this sort of scenario. And right towards day 10, low pressure does budge in, so that warm air once again will give probably some quite heavy rain there and maybe some thunderstorms towards next weekend. But I must put that caveat, it is 8 to 10 days away, so things will probably change by then. The foreseeable future, the next 7 days or so into the middle of next week, initially thunderstorms, but remaining fairly warm through the next 7 days and repeatedly turning a bit drier. Now, if you finish by looking at the ensembles, you can see it's well reflected on the GFS ensembles, generally average to above average over the next week to 10 days. Some showers, you can see that from the small precipitation spikes. Again, ensembles don't deal with convection all too well, so we're not seeing any huge precipitation spikes, but some areas could see a lot of rainfall. But it just shows you the risk over the next sort of 3 or 4 days to around Monday, Tuesday time of some showers. But through the rest of next working week to around the 5th or 6th of May, it's pretty much bone dry and quite warm from the upper air temperatures, peaking around that 6, 7, maybe as high as 10 degrees. Again, would give temperatures in the low to maybe even peaking around mid-20s in some of the warmest ensemble members here. Beyond that, perhaps instability does increase and we see some more unsettled weather, perhaps more precipitation, but still upper air temperatures are average to above average. So you can see pretty much warm conditions, mild conditions, whatever you want to call it, above average, fairly pleasant. And the next week, there will be showers over the coming days, especially in the west, but it will be fairly dry as we head into next week for hopefully most areas. And finally, just looking at the 2 meter temperatures, you can see this, where that white line is showing you the average of the ensemble members. It's not the most accurate, again, probably be a couple of degrees either side, but the majority are around 16 to 18 degrees pretty much every day for the next 2 or 3 weeks. And I know, of course, the average 2 meter temperature in the London area here is slowly increasing as we head towards the peak of the year around July time. And sort of May, June, you'd expect those temperatures to be in the mid to high teens, but it's a whole lot better than what we've had recently. So even though it's only probably a couple of degrees above average, nothing ridiculous, it will feel a lot warmer than what it has been this week, especially if we see those days of sunshine and maybe 19 or 20 degrees. And finally, if we just compare it to the ECMWF, just to get a cross-model consensus, again, pretty similar, generally more though towards average. So not as many ensemble members going above average. There are some of the cooler runs here. So definitely ECMWF showing some cooler runs, but again we have to remember there are 50 ensemble members here, so there are more ensemble members, so there will be more cooler runs within that. But definitely more cooler runs here in proportion to the number of ensemble members than the GFS does. So of course we have to look at that, but broadly similar over the next week with temperatures average to above average and generally over the next week. Again, precipitation potentially the next 3 or 4 days, and then 3 or 4 days of drier weather as we do head towards next weekend before things could turn unsettled once again, but we'll just have to see the specifics for those. So it does look likely over the next week it will be turning much warmer, it will be turning much drier as well, especially from around Monday, Tuesday time. Again, risk of big thunderstorms this weekend in the west. And I think even though, yes, there will be precipitation this weekend, a lot of people would rather these sort of conditions. If we are going to see rain, if we are going to see thunderstorms, if we are going to see cloud, it's better being in a warmer air mass where the surface temperatures are in the mid to high teens than what we've been recently, where whenever we see cloud and rain with the cold upper air temperatures, it's been struggling around 6, 7 or 8. So a lot better than what it's been over the last week or two. Again, not bone dry, not widespread warmth, not a heat wave by any means, but a lot better than what it's been recently. So it will feel like a big warm up indeed. So I hope if you are in those areas that have got the risk of thunderstorms, they do stay at bay. And if you are in those areas where we've got a lot of sunshine around, I hope you do enjoy the warm sunshine over the coming days. As we can't forecast what's going on beyond that, so who knows, we could go back to cooler, wetter weather, but we will just have to see. But make sure you do enjoy this bank holiday weekend, as the weather isn't insane, it's not the best it could possibly be, but it's a lot better than what it has been recently. So anyway, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.